Most leaders massively overestimate what they can do in 5 days and massively underestimate what they can do in 5 years. And they quit too early because they can't see the compounding power of grit. But here's the truth. Grit is interest. Every rep that you stack, every setback that you stand back up from, every iteration that you refuse to quit on compounds. And the leader who can endure long enough to let the grit compound, that is the leader that leaves everyone else in the dust. I'm Chris Hunsicker, and this is the Dealership War Room. Leadership fire, 7 minutes, built daily, fueled intentionally, and delivered relentlessly. And today, we're going to look at how do we start compounding your grit. So let's dive right in. So let's look at grit compounding in the same way we would look at interest compounding. Compound interest has been called the eighth wonder of the world. Small deposits made consistency over time build massive wealth. Everybody knows this about money. Everybody knows this about interest, but the exact same principles apply to grit. Here's how this plays out in the dealership. You show up every morning with discipline. It's compounding. You coach that advisor one more time. Compounding. You hold the line on that process even when the whole team starts groaning. That's compounding. You go at it one more time even after the third failed event. That's compounding. Each act seems small, insignificant, almost invisible, but grit multiplies, it stacks, it builds velocity. And velocity wins, not raw speed, not frenetic hustle, but sustained directional movement. The truth is, most of your competition didn't lose because they were worse. They lose because they never gave compounding enough time to work. They burned out, they tapped out, they wanted quick ROI and fast wins. And when it didn't happen, they just folded. You're a war room leader. You're an elite operator, and you outlast, out-iterate, and out-compound everyone in your market. This is why I tell everyone I coach that grit is the ultimate unfair advantage. Because once the compounding starts to kick in, then the gap between you and your competition, it doesn't just grow, it explodes, and you become uncatchable because you are unstoppable. Let's go back to the gym. You don't build strength by one monster rep. You build strength by stacking day after day, day after day. You build velocity in your body the same way you build velocity in your leadership, by refusing to quit on reps. And here's the kicker. Velocity grit just doesn't change your business. It changes you. You start to believe deep down inside in your bones, I can endure, I can outlast, I can build momentum that no one can stop. And that kind of belief is rocket fuel. So let's take a look at 3 rules to lock in grit as your compound advantage. Number 1 is daily deposits. Never underestimate the absolute raw power of small, simple acts repeated daily. Because remember, grit grows by inches, not miles. Number 2, time horizon. Stop thinking in days and weeks and start thinking in quarters and years, because compounding needs time. Number 3, stay invested. The only way to lose with compounding is if you pull your investment. And it's the same with grit. Quitting kills the curve. So now let's go from insight to action. I want you to think of and pick one area where you've been treating grit like a sprint instead of an investment. Maybe it's coaching, maybe it's culture, maybe it's your own health and habits. But decide today, I am going to keep depositing. I'm going to keep stacking. I'm going to let grit compound for me, my family, and my team. And now I invite you, write down one daily deposit that you're willing to commit to absolutely for the next 30 days. Not a miracle move, a deposit. As a war room leader and an elite operator, you know this, that grit compounds and velocity wins. Don't tap out before the payoff. Stay invested. Keep depositing. Let grit compound until the gap becomes uncatchable. That is how you build unstoppable momentum, and that is how you leave a legacy. So with this in mind, understanding the power of compounding grit, go out today, create some leadership fire, and I will see you next week in the Dealership War Room.